Alright, so today we are going to be working with some square roots. So we're going to solve quadratic equations by using square roots. So what we're going to do is first isolate the squared term, so x squared onto one side. And then what we'll do is take the square root of both sides. Now when we're taking the square root, we are going to need to make sure that we have a positive and negative answer. Because if we have the square root of 9, our answer could be positive or negative 3, because negative 3 times 3 is 9 and positive 3 times 3 is 9. So that's why we have to make sure to be careful about having that symbol. Alright, so now let's do a few examples. So first we need to isolate the square term, so we need to get x squared by itself. So we can divide both sides by 5. And now we have x squared equals 1. Well, we want to get x by itself. So we're going to take the square root of both sides, and when we do that, square root of 1 is 1. So x will equal positive or negative 1. Alright, so there's that one. Now let's look at number 2. We need to divide both sides by a negative 9. And so we have k squared equals, and I can't do that in my head, we end up with 49. So now we want to get just k by itself, so we need to take the square root of both sides. And since we're taking the square root, we need to have a positive and negative answer. So square root of 49 is 7. So k equals positive or negative 7. And I'm okay with you writing it like this. You don't need to write it separately as k equals positive 7 and k equals negative. That's fine. Okay, but this is like the most important part. Do not forget to have a positive or negative answer. Alright, so now we're going to look at this one. This one's going to be a little different. So we're going to divide both sides by 81. And you're probably thinking, yeah, that's not going to turn out very nice. Well, before we reduce this fraction, is 49 a perfect square? Yeah. Is 81 a perfect square? Oh my gosh, yes. It's like they did that on purpose. So when we take the square root of a fraction, we're basically taking the square root of each individual term. So square root of 49 is 7, and the square root of 81 is 9. So our answer, we had to have a positive or negative, would be 7 over 9. Or positive or negative 7 over 9. And that is our final answer there. Alright, now I want you to try this next one on your own, so go ahead and do that. Okay, now I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides, and we get n squared equals 16. Well, it's perfect square, so now we take the square root, and n equals positive or negatives, not 16, 4. Square root of 16 is 4. Alright, now let's look at the next one. Now this might not end up as nicely for us, so we're going to divide both sides by negative 3. We get x squared equals, so if I have 54 divided by 3, I get 18. Well, 18 is not a perfect square. So when we take the square root, we're going to have to do our little factor tree. Not factor tree, or our square root tree. So I'm going to think, what is a perfect square that I know can go into 18? Well, 4 doesn't go into 18 nicely. So I'm going to try the next one, which is 9. So 18 divided by 9, oh my gosh, it's 2. So square root of 9 times square root of 2. 2 can't get broken down anymore, and square root of 9 is 3. So our answer is going to be positive or negative 3 square root 2. Or radical 2, however you'd like to view that. Alright, now let's look at the next one. So we are going to add 10 to both sides, and when we do that, we get n squared equals 3. Once again, not a perfect square. So n is just going to be positive or negative radical 3, because 4 cannot go into it. And so that is what we are working with there. Alright, let's go ahead and do number 7. So subtract 2. Have v squared equals 98. Alright, not a perfect square, so we need to break this down. So let's take 98. I'm going to divide by 16 first. Okay, not it. Let's do 98 divided by 36. Okay, let's try 49 then. Oh, 49 it is. So my perfect square, and then my non-perfect. So square root of 49 and square root of 2. 2's done, and then this reduces to 7. So v equals positive or negative 7 radical 2. Alright, now let's see if there's another more complicated one. Okay, let's do 9, okay? So let's see here, let's subtract 2 from both sides. 10p squared equals 720. Now divide both sides by 10, and p squared equals 72. I'm going to take the square root. Let's go ahead and just start trying some numbers. So let's do 72 divided by 9. Okay, that worked out a perfect square and a non-perfect. So radical 9 and radical 8. Well, 9 simplifies to 3 and I'm done. Now, with 8, are there any other perfect squares that could go into it? Yeah, 4. So we could take out radical 4 and radical 2, because 2 times 4 is 8. Can't reduce that radical 2 anymore, and square root of 4 is 2. Now in this situation, since I have 2 numbers outside of the radical, I need to make sure to multiply these together. So my answer is going to be positive or negative 3 times 2 is 6, radical 2. So if you don't take out the greatest square root, that is okay, because you'll just end up in a situation like this. Alright, so your homework is going to be on the next page in your packet, and I will have on Schoology which problems to do. But that is that, and if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out.